to help us understand how Cloudflare can help to the market in this moment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Just, can you see my screen? Just one question.
We see your screen. We hear you
sure.
clear and loud. Maybe it's a little bit of echo, but no problem.
Sorry. Maybe it's yeah, hello everyone. My name is Maksim Bormotov. I'm Spartan Solution Engineer here at Cloudflare. My role is to provide a technical assistance, technical support for our partner to explain the Cloudflare solutions, Cloudflare services, their features and possibilities. I'm so excited to be here in this event. We have more than 20 participants. It's nice, and thank you all for your coming, for your time. So, what we were talking about, what is Cloudflare from a technical perspective, and we have two topics here. The first one is how it's important to protect web applications with web application firewall, and how we can have granular access, how we can manage granular access with Cloudflare solution for all type of application, terminal application. So, what's Cloudflare from technical perspective? Actually, Cloudflare is a reverse HTTP and HTTPS proxy and managed DNS provider. This solution is delivered in 100% in cloud, so we don't have any physical hardware. You don't need any box to install in your current infrastructure in completely cloud solutions. All our services rely in our global network. You can see this map, and actually we have more 275 points of presence in the world, and this number of POPs constantly increasing. This fact allows us to be closest to the final user, to final visitor, and don't add any additional latency. Our network built in anycast architecture, which means what user connect to the closest Cloudflare data center instead to send the request to your web application origin and so on. We have 1,100 direct connections with over ISN, including the big ICP internet service provider, over our cloud providers, and the ISN of large enterprises. What is capacity of our network? Our network now, capacity of our network is 155 terabits per second. You can see it's enough for routing all traffic for all our customers, and we can mitigate all type of DDoS attack. So just for your information, the biggest DDoS attack which can be registered in the history, it was about 3.5 terabits per second. Our capacity is 50 times ambitious. What about our clients? Actually, on this day, more than 35 million of web properties like sites, websites, and IP are protected and accelerated by Cloudflare. This huge amount of traffic and information allow us to create the real web patterns in real time with dynamic IP reputation and fingerprints to detect all types of attacks in real time and mitigate this attack in real time. And of course, all our solutions rely on our first one of the fastest DNS domain name system is our own ramp. Or you can see with DNS per, for example, the Cloudflare DNS 1.1.1.1. It's in the top 3 of the fastest DNS network. What about the second advantage here? The second advantage of our network is what pulls every service in every our server in every data center, allows all scope of Cloudflare services. It means we have full stack of services which launched in our servers. It can be DOS mitigation, debug, caching, zero trust services, and so on. And what does it mean? It means what we don't send the traffic to any scrubbing center to apply additional policy, to apply additional services. We don't add any latency here. With the second one is also traffic is handled near a visitor of your website. In the closest to the data center, it means what is a single pass for the inspect the traffic for the user. So if you're talking about Cloudflare services, what Cloudflare can propose to offer to our customer. We have 4 big families of products here. The first one, the historical one, it's called application services. Application services is all type of services which protect and accelerate web application. We're talking about layer 7 of OSI model here. Our network services. Our network services is built to protect and accelerate entire customer network. It's like using Cloudflare network like an extension of customer network. So we have different products here. For example, our solution Magic Transit allows to protect /24 IP public scope of customer, but they can protect the network. With the GP announcement, we advertise this IP from our edge in all traffic to customers' network goes through Cloudflare, and we can apply all our services here. We also have a one as a service solution that allow you to interconnect with different sites, with different locations, with different offices. And also we can propose a smart routing system, Argo, which allow you to deliver with dynamic content as fast as possible, because one important fact here, Cloudflare actually today we proxy more than 1% of web traffic in the world. So this information allows us to know about the congestion of traffic, and we can avoid this traffic and find the best way, the best path to deliver the content here. What about the third family of services, zero trust services? It's all about protection of your internal application, on-premise, cloud, SaaS application, granular access control with zero trust network access. With Gateway, you can apply the policy in the different level for your employees. It can be on DNS level, or HTTP level, or network level, and so on. We can also propose email security system Area 1 to protect your infrastructure from phishing attack and business email compromise attack. And the last type of services, it's called services, developer services. It's the serverless computer. You can deploy the code in our edge, and you can create and deploy any type of application without handling your infrastructure in our edge. And all the services, like I said, as I said, is rely on our network. Cloudflare Web Application Firewall. We know what is the meaning of web application firewall, for which purpose we have to use WAF. So, web application firewall checking all incoming questions for your web application, for a website, and this website is hosted in your origin in your web application server. Web server. So, what is the difference between web application firewall and like I don't know, firewall with a new generation firewall? So, firewall is built for another mission. Firewall is built for protect internal corporate network, right? And filter all incoming, outgoing traffic with additional services like NAT, IDP, IDS, IPS, antivirus, and so on. But the mission of WAF is to protect your web application, is to protect the information, is to protect your server and protect the information from this particular origin web server. It's like a buffer between a web application which is hosted on a server. It can be on-premise, it can be in cloud, however, and the visitor of your web application. What is Cloudflare WAF? What is the difference of Cloudflare WAF? The first one, which I have to say for you, was our WAF is launched in each of our data centers. In each of our Cloudflare POPs, the WAF is launching and check all incoming requests to your application in real time. So our WAF provides both immediate protection with pre-configured rule set and the possibilities to create the custom rules. We have a set of pre-configured rules which constantly improves, increased by our security team. And also we have an update each week, and we have updates for a critical, we have a critical patch for new discovered vulnerabilities like Log4j, which have discovered, I think, in 6 December last year. But in 6 hours, we announced a new patch for our firewall, for our WAF application firewall, which protect our customers from this vulnerability. So we can talk about the zero-day protection in this case. And of course, if we're talking about WAF, it's important to block the request, but we have to have all, we need to have all visibility and analytics. Our WAF provide all information for each blocked or logged request. It's like IP source, ISAN, HTTP, meta, path, etc. This information is available from dashboard and also can be sent for customer cloud bucket. For example, it's free or all in your CAM like Splunk or Datadog. One important thing here, our WAF, Cloudflare WAF, is completely agnostic to infrastructure type and type of hosting to protect. So it means we can protect on-premise web server, but can be hosted in your infrastructure. We can protect multi-cloud infrastructure, or we can protect hybrid infrastructure as well. Our WAF relies in our global network with machine learning. Machine learning analyzes the traffic in real time. Just for your information, we have around 45 million requests per second, and this is with all these requests handled by our WAF. or prevented recent attack. And of course, what is important, you can combine our solution, you can combine BAF with overall solution like rate limiting, load balancing when you have multiple origin services. You can apply the algo smart routing, caching, and so on. All the type of products, type of services of Cloudflare can be combined. It's up for you. It's consolidated cloud platform to increase your productivity and to protect your infrastructure. So I'm talking about managed rules, about pre-configured rules, what it means, what we can provide for our customers. The first one, it's Cloudflare managed rules, what's handled by our security team, by Cloudflare security team. This type of pre-configured rule sets protect against most popular attacks like SQL injection, code injection, cross-site scripting, and so on. The second type, the second rule set, the second group of rules what protect your infrastructure, it's OWASP rule set. It's a group of rules created by OWASP Foundation. It's OWASP, it's online community which produced the documentation technology in the field of web application security. How it's worked, OWASP rules set checks the behavior of each request and give the score of this request at the end. You can configure the threshold. For example, I can configure threshold as 40, and each malicious behavior add the score, add the final score. And when the threshold is more than configured threshold, we can block, we can log, we can put JavaScript challenge. What is mean JavaScript challenge is one small JavaScript code, but we can send in the navigator, in the browser of clients in order to be sure what the traffic is generated by the real customer, by the real visitor. Another mechanism to protect your web application, your origin server, is sensitive data protection. Sensitive data protection is a rule set which scan the response, which scan the payload sent by the server to a visitor, and it can log or block the sensitive data which is being detected. For example, it can be credit card information, social security number information for the database of customers. It can be IP key sent by a server. We can lock and we can block this information in order to be sure that the final visitor don't have that information, this information. And the last pre-configured rule set, exposed credential check. It's the rules that check the database of stolen login and password. This rule set check the post or HTTP request and verify if someone used this particular stolen login and password. And if this is the case, we can block the request, we can lock the request, or the functional monitoring, we can add one particular HTTP header in order to be sure that your server, your web application knows that someone used the stolen login and password. In this case, you can insert that, you can put the reinitializing of password. So we're talking about with pre-configured rule set. What about custom rules? Yes, we give this possibility to our customers. You can create any type of rules that you want. You can use our expression builder mechanism So you can combine an expression or and operators action. You can use fields. You can use Wireshark languages to change the particular custom rule set. We support also regular expression, and we provide to our customers where actually it's like a list of configured list of IP proxies of IP of VPNs, and you can use this list in order to create your custom roles. And also you can create and upload your list, your own list with IPs of with host names to use with our expression mechanism. Like I said, our work can be combined with rate limiting in order to limit of the requests, how many legitimate requests are loaded. And with different action, you can block the request, we can lock the request, we can put JavaScript challenge in order to be sure what is this traffic is generated by the real customer, by the real visitor, by the real user, and you can use the rate limiting. This is one example of custom rules that can be created from our dashboard. We support also API. In Cloudflare, our approach is API first. All this type of services, all type of configuration available in the dashboard can be configured by the API calls. And you can use also Terraform provider in order to automatize this operation. So here's just a little example how it's works. You have a builder mechanism you can combine with different expressions like URI path, request method, country, IP list, and so on. And you can also use the bot score. What is mean bot score? It's bot management, what check all incoming requests with different mechanisms like behavior analysis, machine learning, fingerprints, database, and so on. And to the end of evaluating this request, bot score gives one score from 1 to 99 in order to provide information. This request is automated request generated by the bot, or if it's real traffic of real customer. And you can combine all this information in order to create your own logic here. So what about analytics? What about visibility? From our dashboard, you can see all this information in real time, and you can up to 30 days for 1 month or see all this information. You can see the number of requests, the number of logged, blocked, or skipped requests. You can also see a down of the screenshot, what is the services employed to block this request. You have many mechanisms, and you can show, you can apply the filter, you can apply a different filter, you can apply a different date scope, and so on. And like I said, the information is available from the same one single dashboard, and you can send this information to a CM or the cloud bucket. So what is the difference? What is the best bullets, points of Cloudflare solution, Cloudflare VAM? So the first one, easy to deploy. So to add the domain, the particular subdomain to Cloudflare, take 5 minutes. We have 2 ways here. Once you can change your DNS server, or can use CNAME setup, partial setup when you can keep your current DNS provider. The second one, where powerful pre-built rule set would allow you to deploy immediate protection in one click. This rules is configurable. You can custom these rules. You can apply all these rules. You can change the action by default. You can change. You can take only some of these rules and deploy just to some rules. Up to you. Time to prove GT, like I said, it takes 5 minutes to add the domain to Cloudflare. Once the domain to add it to Cloudflare, you can use our WAF immediately. And you can see all information of type of information about the request to your infrastructure to your hostname from a single dashboard. Our WAF is based from machine learning mechanism. So we tracked 72 billion of cyber threats, and we use this amount of information for creating the patterns where, like I said, dynamic IP reputation, the patterns of attack in order to protect all of our customers. And the last one, integrated solution, what it means, you can use the API, you can use Terraform to configure this, you can use our dashboard, you can combine our solution with different Cloudflare solutions like caching, like smart routing, DDoS protection, and so on. And like I said, you can send the log to your CM or a cloud bucket. And it's not all. We have a different solution to protect all infrastructure of customer. We are talking about layer 7 here. So the first one is immediate DDoS protection. Once domain is added to Cloudflare, it's immediately protected from DDoS attack in layer 7. We don't use any scrubbing center, and the time for mitigation is less than 3 seconds. We use also bot management, like I said, to manage automatic traffic. We have a list of known bots in order to be sure what just with good bots like a Google crawlers can send the traffic to the domain. We also provide SSL TLS encryption for our customers. So if we're talking about layer 7 products like Reverse Proxy, so we're talking about 2 connections here from visitors to Cloudflare, and from Cloudflare to your infrastructure, to your original web servers, and we can encrypt these 2 connections with SSL TLS certificates. We can provide for free the certificates for the domain, the first level subdomain. You can put your own certificate, you can upload your own certificate at Cloudflare, or you can use our advanced management certificate in order to create advanced certificate. We work with Let's Encrypt, Google CA, and DigiCert organization. API Shield, what it means, it's API protection. So we have different mechanisms here. It's discovery to understand all your API endpoint. The second one is schema validation. You can upload the schema like a positive security, or the request need to respect the schema. And MTLS, you can create a particular certificate and integrate this certificate to your web application, for example. We will check, Cloudflare will check with the presence of these certificates for each request in order to allow this request. So yeah, we talked about web application, how it's important to protect your web origin, your web application, and now we have to be sure that we can have a granular access to your application. So it is important, yeah, and now it is very difficult to handle the situation because we have many cloud applications, we have SIAs, and so on. How this question is handled now? You can see this infrastructure is complex, it's difficult. Now, many of customers use VPN tunnel in order to connect the partner, the remote workers to infrastructure. And with VPN tunnels, you can allow to access to internal application. You can use MPLS, which is very cheaper to use, and you can interconnect the most of your location. And so it's a difficult system. It's harder to configure, it's harder to maintain. So what's proposed Cloudflare here? Cloudflare proposed, instead of this obsolete slow solution, to use our global network in order to replace all this solution by our services. We use zero trust approach. It's IT security model, like you know, but we don't trust anyone by default. Inside network, private network, or outside network, where each user, each customer needs to be authenticated in order to give them access to one of these resources. We use the same platform, the same dashboard, the single platform to manage access to your application and to manage outgoing internet traffic. And of course, you have all visibility and granular control with Cloudflare. As you can see, we can assure the access to self-hosted application, to internet application, and SaaS application. We are very agnostic to the type infrastructure to protect. Access, zero trust network access, call it Cloudflare access. It's our solution that allow you to manage granular access to your application. Cloudflare, with this solution, you put Cloudflare in front of your application, and each time when someone tries to access to this application, we need to authentify this user. So you can ask, how I can authentify my users, my partners, with which mechanism, with which services? So my answer is we support all XML 2.0 providers. It can be corporate providers like Azure, Active Directory, Okta. We support social data provider like Facebook and Google accounts. And of course, we support open source provider like GitHub account. So the list is not complete list. We support all these provider. I have put it just some of the names. Once remote users try to access to your application, we need the request go first to Cloudflare Edge, to closest to this remote user data center, and this user must be authenticated. You have to configure your identity provider with which source of information you will authenticate this user, and user will be authenticated via this provider. Also, device posture can be applied here. It's like additional layer of security. And once authenticated, Cloudflare will apply the access policy, what you can configure via dashboard. And if this policy allows the remote user, this particular remote user, to go to this resource, we can send the request to your resource, to your application. And of course, if I talked about the zero trust network access, we have talked about security, but it's not at all. With Cloudflare, you can benefit the performance because the access to your application can be accelerated by our system, by our Argo smart routing system. So we find the best network path for request in order to not add latency. So what about deployment? Simple to deploy, we have well-documented guides in the site, all steps guide for all operations like add, protect my resource, protect my application, add the identity provider. We have all these guides from our site or from our documentation. And we'll talk about the tunnel later. It's a way to protect your application from direct internet attack from internet. It's tunneling what allows to create the inbound tunnel to close this data center, Cloudflare data center, in order to protect your origin server. So, very simple schematic how it's work. Every Cloudflare is in front of your application. Each request to your application hit first the Cloudflare edge. The Cloudflare closes data center. I remind which all our point of presence of our data centers launch all full stack of Cloudflare services and zero trust also. So once the request from a particular interest hits the Cloudflare data center, we must authenticate this request with identity provider you configure it. It can be Okta, Azure, Google, and so on. After we apply the policies will be applied in our edge. And after this, if this request is allowed and the user is authenticated, Cloudflare will send this request to infrastructure. And this, like I said, this request will be accelerated by our smart routing system called Algo, but find the best path of the internet and avoid the traffic congestion. So you can see here at the right side of picture a little sign which is called Cloudflare Daemon. What it means? It's Cloudflare tunnel. We'll talk about Cloudflare tunnel later more. So what is Cloudflare tunnel? Tunnel is a way to protect our origin, your origin web server from direct attack from internet. It's a tunneling software that connect your origin direct to the closest Cloudflare data center. This daemon support all OS, can be Linux, Mac, Windows, and so on. It can be deployed like in form of Docker image also. This tunnel, what we create in order to connect your data center to Cloudflare, is encrypted, and you don't need any port, any public inbound port in your region. So with your firewall, you can close all inbound port, and your IP, your public IP, will be unroutable for the internet, but it's still connected to Cloudflare services, and we can send the information, the request, and response of server thanks of this daemon, of this tunnel. So the tunnel is made for HTTP servers, for web servers. You can also protect your SSH server, NDP, and so on, RDP, sorry. So tunnel works with all Cloudflare services, as each request needs to hit Cloudflare edge first. We can apply all of our services, all of our products. It can be a load balancing, we can apply the firewall rules, of course, DDoS protection, and you can accelerate your traffic with our smart routing. Just in the end, I'd like to summarize what Cloudflare is, which services to propose for customers. So, as you can see, Cloudflare is consolidated cloud platform which allows to protect and accelerate all services which need to have access to internet. All our services is relied in our global network with more than 270 points of presence. It's network fast, reliable, and secured. We have three big groups of services: application, which secure and accelerate your web traffic, your web application. We can apply the SASE approach, which combines our zero trust services and the network services. And we can offer also developer services which allow to build and deploy application in our edge. You have one consolidated platform to manage all this type of services from one dashboard. This platform is composable, so it means you don't need to buy to deploy all this type of services. You can add the service when you want, as you want. And like I said, the Cloudflare is very agnostic to the type of infrastructure to protect. We can protect and accelerate on-premise applications, cloud application, hybrid, SIS, and we can protect email, data center, locations, your remote workers, and so on. And of course, we can interconnect the different locations, with different offices with our Cloudflare One SSH Service products. And the last slide here, it's where our recognitions were recognized by Forrester and Gartner. We're leader in DDoS mitigation. Our WAF is also recognized by Forrester and Gartner to protect web application and API. You can see also our bot manager is a strong performant and zero trust services. We are representative vendors also. All this type of information is available in our website, and you can see all this type of recognition. So I think it's all from my side. Do we have any question?
I see no question in a chat. So in that case, I will stop recording.